Hey ha ya hey hey ya ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya 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 hey hey yo hey yo Fort Beck Community College, Ukiebino, yo, yo, me too, gashi, dagush, kashka, yogi, piano, yo, yo, wata, pebi, agi, ktabi, ichachi, ya, bino, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya yo hey ha yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ha ya hey hey yo Fort Beck Community College Ukiebino yo yo me too gashi dagush kashka yogi piano yo yo wata pebi hagik tabi ichachi ya bino hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya yo hey ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ha hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ha hey yo hey yo hey yo Fort Beck Community College Ukiebino yo yo me too gashi dagush kashka yogi piano yo yo wata pebi hagik tabi ichachi ya bino hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ha ya hey yo hey yo hey yo Fort Beck Community College Ukiebino yo yo me too gashi dagush kashka yogi piano yo yo wata pebi hagik tabi ichachi ya bino hey yo
Mitaku epi. Okay, Yushke wan chian kampich ante washtea. Yuha na pechi zapto. Okay, everybody. My name is Elijah Hopkins, and welcome to the Buffalo Chasers podcast series, week number 15. Again, we welcome everybody, and we thank you for joining us. We are streaming live from Poplar, Montana, Fort Peck Community College, also known as Wakantanka Tamakoche, God's country. Again, thank you for joining us. Before we get started in our discussion here, again, I'd ask Dekshi Gaish Nekshi Wamnishage, Uncle Tommy Christian, if you would start us off with a prayer in a good way.
Hautushka, Dayanya hipi mitaki epi eche tualo, ona ampetu ashte you happy eche tualo. How my relatives again, we're coming to you on from the Fort Peck Community College Buffalo Chasers podcast right here on this very beautiful Thursday afternoon. Ampetu tateam, oh lila tateam. It's really windy out today, so again now it's kind of tie down your what do they call them things you jump on? Well, what are those things called? A trampoline?
Your trampoline, yeah.
Oh man, those things you'd fly way over there, make everybody think they're seeing UFOs. That's your trampoline, your kids' trampoline. But that's how windy it is out here. You know, and again, today I think we're going to speak a little bit about dealing with the development. You know, a lot of times our young people are stigmatized with this, well, they're that tall, they must know by now, or they got a mustache, they're growing hair on their face, they must know. Well, we can't take that for granted. And I think today's show is going to be about the importance of how well this character development help each and every one of us become a better human being. So with that understanding, I'm going to ask you to all pity me as I go to the Creator on behalf of all of these things that we're talking about. And again, we enjoy this opportunity to come in this way, and out of respect for some of those ochbagi questions you may feel you have, we also approach it in a very spiritual manner with this virtual reality coming upon us, and we're just trying to address it as respectfully as we could. So, how my relatives Ushimala Omakia now Wachikia, Gixiapo Nitaki Epi, Mayazapi, Unchima Kaumani, Gixiapo Nitaki Epi, Chante Yoksi Omani, Okia Chava Ushi Chava. And that we're going to ask you to pity all of them and help them out, those that are suffering from the illness or somebody that's maybe walking around with a mournful heart. And I'm going to ask all of you out there that hear this, if you'd keep my niece, Johnny Perry, in mind. She just lost her son yesterday. But we're going to continue to go on because we know we shall see them again. So in a good way, we help ourselves to understand this opportunity to come and live this life the way we understand it. So, look at it. Atu kashila wakantanka tajoya doba unchi makana makain. Nakumi daki api wanagi makpia aktaya de hocho kakta hyopo. Ni chope, mushia ke ni daki api unchi makao mani wayaza api ogia chawo. Mushia ke ni daki api unchi makao mani chante yoksicho mani owi chakiapo ushui chalapo. We ask you, my grandfathers, in a good way, if you'll help us to understand the importance of inviting you to this place, to this altar, as we see these things, as we refer to it as, and ask that you continue to keep those that are having a tough time with illness and sickness, those that are having a tough time with walking around with a mournful heart, that you'll pity them and you watch over them, and you'll always keep them in mind as we understand the importance of our humanness and some of the weaknesses that we carry. And through that, we're going to ask that you continue to help us to understand the importance of our agichita oyate ki zuya ekta, we chasha bele wiya bele chanku washte upi, and our relatives that have joined the service and are giving of themselves in good way to defend this freedom that sometimes we take for granted, but at times like this, we definitely appreciate. So give them a good road on this day, the men and the women that are serving our people in such a humble manner as Ekchewe Chashabi. And again, my grandfathers, as we come to you on this day, Tukashila want Kantaka, Kiksiapo Naha, we nuk chalapi na, we chachalapi, Wakaya Japi na, Koshkapi, we Koshkapi, Mushianke Okia Chawu, we chozani unk upi na, Chanku washte unk upi Okia. We're going to ask you, my grandfathers and my grandmothers that helped me as I sat on the hill, to gain this understanding that you always look over all of our those that we depend on, our older people that we hold dear to our hearts, the men and the women, And of course, look after our babies that are out there that are just coming into this world in a good way and are standing holy. We ask that you continue to pity them. Watch over those young people, the boys and the girls that are understanding the importance of helping out their families and always participating in such a good way. We ask that you watch over those that are becoming young men and young women, the Koshkapi, we Koshkapi, those ones that are understanding the importance of that responsibility in which we depend on them for as they develop themselves into becoming stronger in their character to help defend this freedom that we are exercising. So in a good way, we come in that way. Atukashila wakanta gaushia kemitati epina ha wapia wichasha pina wapia wiapi okia chawu nasu washake unkupi na ha ni how do you say that um, give them a good spirit. Nagi ta o chakiapo ushu chalapo nagi washte upi okiawo. And my grandfathers, we come to you on this day and ask that you will pity all of those that help us out through ceremony, the men and the women. You give them a strong mind. You give them a good spirit so that in their what comes from their heart can be shared with us in such a good way as we try to do these things. And again, we always in a good way. Hatu kashila na wakantanka ushimalo ambetukile na ha wola kota makasi tomini mushia ke na ha ektewi chasha mielo hohe chajemi ta na wamnisha ge doba ima chiapi. And again, my grandfathers, as we continue to come to you with this heartful prayer, this heartful cry of wishes that we ask that you continue to help us to understand the importance of this peace all over the universe that we're pursuing. For the sake of all of your creation, we ask that you continue to help us. So on this day, in a good way, we understand this duality that we exist in and the ability to understand the importance of this diversity as well as the uniqueness that is represented through our natural law process. And we follow the protocol. And in a good way, we ask that you help us to understand the importance of it becoming an enrichment and enhancement for the sake of the growth of our children. So with that all being said, we want to thank you for those that are participating today. Thank you for their participation and the good words they have to share with us. I want to ask you to continue to help us as we try to do these things. Oh, Mitake Oasi.
Pidame Adekshi. Again, beautiful prayer.
Oh,
So
my nephew, I just wanted to kind of try to share with them the English version of what I'm sharing in my Lakota language because a lot of times our people that don't speak, they don't understand how much in this heartfelt cry that we offer to this higher power, some of the intent that is there. So I wanted to share that because the topic this week is that character development, and we don't want them to take it themselves for granted or anything. So I just wanted to share the intentions of that way that we do things in a good way. So just to give you some understanding why it took so long.
Padame, no, that's a good explanation. Midaku again, week 15, Buffalo Chasers podcast. As Dekshi alluded to here, general topic that we have today, which could go many different ways, but we decided maybe a good starting place for our discussion would be this idea of strengthening oneself or our students, but really oneself through character development. And again, before we get started along this discussion, just a couple announcements. For those of you that are joining us in Facebook world, give us a like, give us a share, put something in the comment section. Let us know that you appreciate the work that we're doing or any questions that you might have. Feel free to put those in the comment section and we will do our best to address any questions, comments, concerns that you might have about a given topic, future topics, any of that good stuff. I'd like to think we're open-minded and we're open to any criticism or any questions, and we'll hopefully be able to address those in a timely manner. Also, to increase participation, what we do every week is we try to do a drawing. And so by putting your name and giving us a like, a love, a share, you put your name in the raffle. And then we do our best to announce those winners. And the staff, we got a little bit behind on those raffle nominations or those winners. So what I did was going back to week 13 and week 14. If you go into the comment section, you will see the winners, and I'll just announce those real quick. So for week 13, we have Lewis Peterson and William Cantrell. And then for week 14, we have Kathy Eater and John Wetsit. So again, check the comment section of the Facebook field for those individual videos and redeem your prizes here at Student Services. So again, congratulations to all of those winners. You know, so with strengthening oneself through character development, excellent topic. You know, we had a student orientation day yesterday, and that's one of the comments that somebody made was that during the course of our discussion, I always try and highlight naturally the academic side of being an academic institution, right? There's a reason why students enroll here is because they have academic goals. And so we believe that through our podcast and through our virtual talking circle, every Friday we have that talking circle starting on the 22nd, I believe, when classes resume. It'll be a weekly event from 11 to noon. This podcast every Thursday from 3 to 4. We address the topic of mental health and wellness, utilizing the culture as a source of strength to really assist our students with their development and not to be a hindrance to some of their goals. So we believe that while you do have academic goals, there's a natural balance to having certain other aspects to make your academic experience much more quality, and really to enhance that is through mental health, being aware of your balance, and then hopefully utilizing some of the teachings, cultural teachings, the individuals like Dekshi Tommy have, that they can share these things. And I really think it's going to be an enhancement to your experience as a buffalo chaser, and a source of strength ultimately is what he was talking about. So, and I know I think we have a couple that joined the call. We have Miss Lynette Clark, Suzanne Turnbull. So we could open up the floor to what anybody wants to talk about, but a couple of things that do come to mind when I think about this is the immediate benefit to some of our students that participate in the podcast or listen to some of our discussions is not being in such a rush. You know, in academics, you know, capitalism, we have this tendency to want to like be in a rush all the time to make the dollar to get by, you know, but I think that we need to take a step back. And I think through cultural knowledge and understanding those types of discussions, we're able to have another perspective, and we're able to kind of sit back, maybe not be in such of a rush. And we have this thing called patience, which is one of our virtues. And we utilize patience through observation. I think that's kind of a natural outcome. As we observe, we have this reverence for elders and people that have cultural understanding. And I think it helps younger people in their cultural development. When we listened to Dekshi talk earlier, just because someone might appear to be physically older, sometimes there's an assumption from some people that they have gains, maybe some wisdom or certain virtues, but that might not necessarily be the case, you know, because they maybe not even through their own wrongdoing, they just weren't provided that opportunity yet, you know. And so we want to be able to discuss that, and hopefully anybody that's listening, there's an academic term that I've learned that I've thought was kind of interesting. It's a term called synergy, having synergetic qualities. And so I would apply synergy to academics, and the other aspect of that thing would be cultural knowledge or understanding. And so synergy, in my mind, it's when we make two things better together than they are by their individual parts, and they enhance each other. And so sure, academics is great, cultural knowledge is great. People don't have to combine them, but if they do it and you make it work for you, you could take those two things together and they're better together, and it enhances your experiences as a student. I think so. Ideally, that's a good topic, but it can go anywhere we want. So if whoever wants to contribute to the discussion, feel free to do so. We have, again, Ms. Lynette Clark and Ms. Suzanne Turnbull. The floor is yours.
I'll just jump in there real quick and I'll turn it over to the ladies because I'd like to hear their part. But again, that's a very good approach to addressing the importance of it. You know, and we'd like our folks that are out there that can listen to this podcast that we could have called it cultural development, but we wanted to call it character development. So it's consistent with that inclusiveness of not just Indian people or not just our culture, but everybody's ability to address the importance of this character development because of our humanness, eh? And so that's why I enjoyed that good word of synergy. That's a good word, and I like that. But again, bringing those two things together and helping us understand the importance of, you know, becoming a productive force in your community. And I think we wanted to address the importance of character development because, again, a lot of our young people are kind of taking that for granted, but not really understanding it is important. We see it as older folks. We see that development, and we test you or challenge you on it by getting you in situations or putting you in circumstances where maybe you could get mad, but if you don't get mad and you kind of deal with it accordingly, that's a little challenge in itself as it relates to dealing with life's issues, you know. So it's kind of like that, and that's what the character development will do for you. And so when you're under pressure, oh man, you could kind of develop that good strength and all that good stuff. So I just wanted to put that out there real quickly, but I'd like to hear the ladies, Lynette and Suzanne, participate. We also got somebody on the phone over there. I don't know who that is, but welcome them in as well. But what do you think, ladies? Either one of you jump on in. Don't be shy. Lynette, you're on mute.
Give them a round of applause right there.
Yeah. Go ahead. Do your button. Press the button. Don't be acting Stru. You know what that means?
All backwards here.
Yeah, there you go.
Suzanne, were you trying to talk? No?
You talk.
Oh, I didn't. She was on mute and I didn't want to jump in before her if she was trying to talk. She's moving her mouth. So sorry about that. Good afternoon.
Oh,
And thank you for inviting me again. I enjoy getting on here and, you know, I got the gift to gab, Tommy.
that's what we like. That's what we like. Yeah.
Well, being a college student, you know, I started here at FPCC many moons ago. We won't talk about how many years ago, but time management is very important when you're going to college because sometimes it's going to take you a minute to find it. And as you're, especially as women, you know, we have kids, we have families, we have households to take care of. And and so it's finding that extra time to do your homework, you know, it's all a juggling. It's about juggling and what's prioritizing what's got to be done for the day. And, you know, we all have cell phones anymore, you know, it's, you know, just put everything in there, you know, I mean, figure out what's going to work for you and your kids. You know, maybe you do your homework when they do their homework. And so it takes time. I think Suzanne and didn't you guys used to do a time management class or something, kind of a training or something before? So talking about that time management and really figuring it out. Seems like I've been to college forever. And one of our when I graduated with my MBA degree, our commencement speaker said that. She said, You know, we're the ones that are sitting at home doing homework at midnight, 10 o'clock, midnight, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning when you're writing papers, and everybody else is out there like, oh, we went here and we did this, and they just want to tell you how good of a time they're having and having a great time. They're flying off somewhere, having a great time, and you're stuck at home, you're doing homework. But your rewards will, believe me, they will come after you're done doing your education. They will be there. So it's making that priority and taking that time to do what your priorities are. And that's homework to earn those degrees. And then later on, you can reap the benefits of it. If anybody else wants to jump in.
Looks like Suzanne is on mute. We can't quite hear her. Tommy hopped off. Then we have two Rhonda Masons on the call. Which one of you Rhondas wants to talk? Oh, there's Tommy's back. All right. Thought we lost our Itancha there, you know, has started
And
to
he's on
take
mute.
over. Oh yeah, he's muted.
Can you hear me?
Oh
Yeah,
oh,
now we can.
Oh, I lost everybody. I couldn't hear nobody. I couldn't hear Lynette's comments, so I had to log off and log back in. So there.
But yeah, Lynette just gave us a good little recap, shared some interesting personal story of her experience as a college student for Dona years. She said she's the ageless wonder. She didn't want to give up the dates. So she's dateless. But so it's super helpful, and it's a good perspective, I think, for our students as far as you know, I think I would attest to the same type of experience as a former student, alumni of Fort Peck Community College. You learn to develop time management skills. You learn to handle different levels of stress. You know, I think working, family life, and academics, it's the struggle of many students. And here I am, Dona years later, in a educational leadership program at the University of Montana. Same thing. So I am a student still. I haven't gotten too far away from that understanding of having to juggle all that good stuff. So, but it looks like Suzanne might have had her audio troubles worked out. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Oh, washtero.
Ampetu washte midakyapi tayayahi.
Oh,
Damakuta wia
Huh.
wachincha wakpa.
Yeah, please.
So I was messing with the phone and I had to go into Zoom and get some give them permission for my audio. So y'all can hear me okay?
Oh, washte. Oh.
I too am a proud alumni of Fort Peck Community College. And I remember being so excited to hear something Dr. Shanley said in a class. It was, I think it was religious education, but it was Indian religion, I guess, because it was a requirement for Rocky Mountain College. Rocky Mountain, yeah. And I remember sitting in there and man, we went on a field trip. We went up to Medicine Lodge. Anyways, he was talking about metacognition. And I just remember thinking, wow, there is such a thing that you can think about your own thinking. And I was like, this is the beauty of college. This is the beauty of listening to people deliver knowledge. In a lot of other situations, it's just knowledge helps you make sense of the world you're in if you choose to take in knowledge. And I know the internet, we have to be careful and filter out what's real and what's not real. But I was just like, when they talk about light bulbs going off, mine went. Psh. So thinking about your thinking, and you know, when they talk about mindfulness, and meditation. And it's a real challenge to be alone with your own thinking, to be alone with your own thoughts. And the thinking about your thinking, sometimes I think, is that real? So I've heard also to understand or be understood. Sometimes it takes that practice and that patience to listen to others, to understand where they might be coming from. So that patience and character development, patience is extremely important in a classroom. And sometimes we don't know what people are saying. And I know sometimes we struggle to get our ideas or thoughts out, on paper, and fear sometimes we might be judged. So I thought how much work it takes, or to have an open mind to make sense of our world and our little babies. Lynette was talking about, our children I'm raising a grandchild, and how much they depend on us for information. And Elijah's a dad, and we're all parents and grandparents at some point. We're giving information, we're taking our time. And this is round 2. I raised 2 little girls going to college, and I know, Lynette, we were mothers, full-time students, and raising a little grandchild that's really different. They really hang on to everything we say. And I think as a grandmother, well, it's a different trip altogether, but sharing that information and really taking the time. And they believe when we make a commitment to them and we say we're going to do something, sometimes they forget, sometimes they never forget. So to be honorable with our word, if we're going to do something or say something we're going to do, we want to follow through with that as well. So I am like Lynette, I can just kind of go on too. So I wanted to share that because I learned a lot in Dr. Shanley's class. He talked about the 4x4 theory, which I never forgot, how important that is, in our culture and our ceremonies. And but yeah, I wanted to share that big light bulb explosion moment when I heard about metacognition. So thank you.
That it's really important that we come to realize that the linear teaching and the abstract learning is 2 distinctive approaches to this understanding. And again, like I can't say that I'm college educated, right? But and again, am I stupid for that? Am I dumb? Am I imbecile because I didn't pursue that when I had the GI Bill to back me up and all that? You know something? No. I made a personal choice way back in the day to take on this natural experience, this natural law experience, and learn from those that weren't college educated, but were taught by their grandparents without the influence of their parents teaching them, if that makes any sense to you, because their parents were contaminated by the boarding school era perspective. But my teachers, and it just worked out that way, that I learned from based on, and again, you'll have to understand this is all a perception of a spiritual aspect in which I asked to be guided by somebody that wouldn't take advantage of my naivete. Okay? Because I did choose to go the cultural traditional way of life instead of pursuing a degree or something like that. And so in that, it wasn't a stupid move on my part. It was a very important move on my part to not have to do this. But what we're trying to help people understand, these young people, is that synergy that Toshkal was talking about, the importance of incorporating. Why couldn't I have done both? I imagine I could have, but I chose just to pursue a cultural perspective. And now we've evolved to a point in our life where we can establish ourselves in both worlds. Synergy, that's such a cool word. And that's what our young people, for the sake of understanding the importance of the establishment, the institution itself, encouraging and acknowledging all of these blood, sweat, and tears that these young people are going through, like that you just heard the experiences of Suzanne and of course Lynette and Elijah as it relates to trying to stick to this and at the same time not letting go their home life, the management of their time, or even taking a little time out of their life to address some of these cultural needs that were needed for them. And so I think we need to really establish ourselves as an institution, an educational institution that wishes to really enhance and enrich our young people, that addressing that duality. And that's that ideological paradigm shift, addressing the current pedagogy, but changing that to help us understand the importance of maybe incorporating those two. We talked about that before. Why do the Indian kids have to feel they have to hang their identity on a nail, walk into the classroom, and then do that, and then come out and pick their identity back up? Well, this is what we're evolving to. This is what I hope that we can create and develop and get people to start thinking like this, especially on a reservation. And again, really not making other people defensive, but just kind of adapting and adjusting the current system to really incorporate something that is important to us. It was so important to me that I applied all my energies to that. Okay? I didn't go and get an academic education, not because I was against it, but because I was in need of just the spiritual approach at that time in my life. And so, again, I've been 40 years sober, never done alcohol or drugs for that long. But again, is that something that makes me better? No. Based on my understanding spiritually, does it make me stronger? I would like to think so. In respects to what? In respects to preparing myself to go to this next place, this next dimension. That's where the strength applies itself, not amongst other people or competitiveness of other individuals, but just making myself strong to prepare myself for this next phase in our, what do they call it? Infinity, if you will. But you see, I would like to see us, as it relates to this character development, is to really help us understand the importance of not denying that and hanging that thing on the nail as they go in, but incorporating, implementing it, including it, and not having a problem with having long hair and braids, but yet not having a problem with these things, but not denying a contemporary way of life either. Like Toshka was saying earlier, sometimes we need to be patient and really pursue these things, but why deny yourself comfort? Why deny yourself an opportunity to pay the electric bill and pay your gas bill and pay your rent just because you want to be Indian? That perpetuates that attitude of entitlement that was manifested way back in the day by the Department of War, which has since changed to the Department of Interior. I'm getting political now, but at the same time, we're trying to stay apolitical in that pursuit and really realize we can encourage our students, we can enhance them just by what we're doing here and help them understand you're not being taken for granted. We understand based on these stories that you'll hear if you ask, okay? If you ask, well, what did you do? And they'll share with you. This is what I did. This is how I did this. This is how I fed my family. This is how I paid my bills. It's a struggle, but at the end, it culminates into something that's so beautiful, and that's your Dakota. You heard the language, Wama Dakota, Lakota Hemacha Tokeya. All that good stuff, you'll hear that. But at the same time, you'll understand, and I have a degree. The most important tool to an oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And to go beyond that attitude of following, but just utilizing and being and incorporating the opportunity like we're doing here. That's why I think character development is key, is because what we're doing here is we're really helping our young people understand the importance of critical thought, critical thinking, taking in the initiative, and developing and creating your own life for your own self as you process this information and realize you are in control of your own destiny. You can create the world that you'd like, not without the influence of other people, but with the understanding of individuals like yourself that have been there and done that and help them to realize that we're wishing to encourage you. We're depending on you so that you know that, so that you can do this for us. What if Crazy Horse wasn't a critical thinker? He'd be marching in a line just like those British soldiers and trying to fight them. Instead of hiding behind trees and rocks and protecting himself, he'd be marching towards them in a line. You know what they call that? Guerrilla warfare. And the British got mad and they went back to their general and they said, hey, these Indians aren't playing fair. Why? The general asked it. They're hiding behind rocks and trees and they won't let us shoot them. Well, they were marching in a line towards them. The Indians were picking them off with their arrows. That's just an example. And of course, I'm not being sarcastic, but they still utilize those type of strategies in West Point that Crazy Horse developed of his own accord. He was a critical thinker at that time. He took it upon himself to initiate these sort of tactics, which they continue to utilize today. So how many of our young people, Indian or non-Indian, have the ability to make our life better based on that? So again, just a few words of a shared experience on my own part that I've been called racist. I don't know how many times, and I can't be racist because I'm a person of color. But there's no such thing as reverse racism. All of these things that I talk about, I'm hoping that people will come to gain this understanding of the synergy that could take place if we open our minds. Because when you're linearly learning, you focus, okay? But when you open your mind to this attitude of common sense, your peripherals are just right out there and your mind is just ready. And so you don't have to be a neophyte Indian, feathers, beads, and braids and all that good stuff. A walk by the creek is what we're talking about. Natural experience, the stress relief. Don't have to go in every sweat lodge. Go sit by the sweat lodge. Listen to the prayer songs if you want to. You don't have to go in there and prove anything to anybody, because it's an unconditional approach to these blessings that we carry, and just acknowledging the suffering and the sacrifices based on the personal commitment you have to the Creator or this higher power, whatever you want to refer to it as. So with that all in mind, that's what I'm saying, Toshka. We need to develop an avenue of encouragement and enhancement that, like what we do here every day, right, ladies? We smudge every morning. Doesn't that make us feel better? And then when I miss it, you go, okay, where's he at? You better get over here. We need to smudge, because it makes us feel better in that identity, without having to go all spiritual and get all holy and all that good stuff and whatnot. But we're just common people, and we realize the importance of relating to things like that. And so that involvement of these sorts of things is what's key. The character development helps us to understand the strengthening and how it's going to enhance and the abilities of our students to become better students if they take this opportunity to exercise compassion, empathy, generosity, caring, sharing, loving, whatever that virtue is that they're exercising on that particular day. What are the thoughts on that, Tushka?
I was listening to you talk and listening to the ladies talk earlier. The topic of synergy, I guess. I remember a few years back, pre-COVID era, back when we could go in conference rooms and Indians could get together and visit and laugh around together without masks. I was at a conference. Yearly, I'd go to this workshop, and the cool thing is I'd get to listen to some of these tribal college presidents from around the country. There's about 37 of them, I believe. And there was one individual I really like listening to him. Every time he talks, he's kind of quiet, but I really like listening to him. His name's Dr. Richard Littlebear, I believe, president from Dull Knife College down in Northern Cheyenne. And I was listening to him talk, and they're always asking him to give these opening prayers and these meetings at these conferences, usually just because of his age and his understanding of the Cheyenne language. And one of his things that always kind of stuck with me these years later was that he's a doctor, you know, he's been around the block for a while, but he said the academic accomplishment he's most proud of is the ability that he's learned to read and write in the Cheyenne language. I always thought that was super cool. You know, it was never about, you know, I'm a doctor from this prestigious university. I have this title. It really doesn't matter to him. I mean, he uses that to leverage the best interests of his nation and his people, which is obviously at the heart of what he's about and the mission of AHEC in general. But I thought it was super cool that utilizing their language and his applying his academic mind to create a writing system and read to ultimately preserve their Cheyenne language was the idea of synergy, right? It's an academic function. None of our indigenous languages, to my knowledge, were written other than on birch bark or those buffalo hides. But I just think there's many testimonials that people have. There's many experiences that I think if our younger people, our students are in a position to have an open mind and think, a lot of different things are applicable to them that might be able to kind of change the trajectory of their life. And part of that, having an open mind, is being able to receive information, not being stubborn. So hopefully one of the outcomes of our students when they come to our institution, when they get processed through and then they go off to their careers and do different things, that they're able to apply that type of logic to whatever it is that they do. And I think the experiential, non-linear type of programming that we're trying to offer through this podcast and through the virtual talking circle, I think that's kind of one of our goals, you know. And like when I listen to Dekshi talk about his background and decisions he's made, that's synergy too, because even though he doesn't technically have that academic background, he's here with us right now, and he is enhancing our academic institution by preserving some of our culture and helping to teach us inclusivity. Because we have many of our students. The cool things I noticed when we had our virtual student orientation yesterday, just from the outpour of comments, questions that we're fielding on social media, because we're offering free tuition and fees. It's really quite amazing how far reach little old Fort Peck Community College is having in the world. Even some people internationally in Canada, different countries, are wondering if they could go to school here. And I noticed some of these videos that we were producing and sending out. We're utilizing culture, and I think we're having a pretty wide reach. And so some of our students, I noticed, that had some questions that we were fielding, non-native. And I think it's pretty cool that we're able to extend the olive branch and to incorporate students from different backgrounds, not just off the reservation here, but like really regionally and nationally. And we're bringing them into the fold. And I think it's a testament to what of our cultural values that we're trying to uphold is inclusivity. And they're welcome to join us through this learning journey that we have through this type of learning through the Buffalo Chasers podcast. And there's a whole we have an agenda, you know. It's once this is just part of it, what you're seeing. And it's kind of hard to tell when someone new comes on board. We've covered many topics. This is what, week 15, 16, but every week we've had different topics. Sometimes they mold in together, but you know, ideally, you know, we want to cover mental health, help people understand that character development, all these cultural resources that we talk about, they're used to help individuals, especially our students, our community members, be in a good place. That way they are enhanced through their academic experience, and they can get through and they're able to reach their goals, whatever they are, right? Like if they want to be science major, if they want to just go welding, truck driving, whatever their goals are. I think that this part of our programming is going to enhance that. It's going to make it to where down the road, some of our students, hopefully when COVID goes away, there's land-based teachings down what we've talked about. I mean, that's really our goal. You know, we're making best use of technology to address our limited capacity to reach students. You know, and I think we've done some pretty cool things as far as utilizing Zoom and Facebook. Man, who would have thought a year ago we were doing something like this, right? But because I know actually Tommy normally is out on the pouch, man, he's really visiting a lot of different people, and he brings that into the fold with this podcast. But we've talked many times about what we'd like to see is going out into nature, inviting our native relatives that may have never had experience or exposure to cultural things, our non-native relatives able to join us, and we could go out and check out different cultural things, whether that's gathering of medicines, participating in sweat lodge ceremonies, or just attending and just observing, you know, because we want to dispel some myths, some of the fallacies maybe of the culture that sometimes are perpetuated by people that may not have had a solid foundation to share those things. And sometimes certain thing, we might get a bad rap over certain things. So we want to create this open culture where we're not trying to hide anything, and we're here it is, you're welcome to participate. And we get rid of this hierarchy. I think there's this thing where we want to like be judgmental, and we want to kind of bring those barriers down, and we want to invite people to feel welcome in our community, especially in our college. And we've always tried to be, like Dexy said, this apolitical entity, but to really be this beacon of light for knowledge and for sharing and welcoming, perpetuating this culture. So, but anyways, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent there, but Dr. Richard Littlebear, man, how cool was that? That's synergy.
Oh, that's it.
And then it looks like we have a chat. I kind of ignored my chat function. Culture is so important to us and for us to share. Oh, Hetche too. One of our students shared that in the chat function. Any other comments? Feel free to hop on in here. We got about 5-10 minutes, and we'll wrap up our discussion for this week.
Don't be shy, ladies.
Last week we were talking, I said I couldn't multitask. Well, today I have to multitask when I'm sitting at my desk, because of course we have registration going on, and you know, so if you haven't registered, we're on the ball. And so I've been just watching my computer, and I have students emailing and asking questions and wanting me to forward whatever, you know. Tomorrow's tribal education deadline, so they're wanting applications emailed to them, and just different things that we have going on here. So I'm kind of multitasking this time. I can do it because I'm sitting at my desk. So if you kind of notice that I'm off doing this over here, that's what I'm doing, is trying to help students at the same time, and yet I like to be a part of this podcast. So multitasking.
Elijah,
Oh,
I would like to speak to the grandmother that I spoke to in the grocery store the other day, and the grandmas and the grandpas that think they might be too old to attend college. And by all appearances, you know, in our 4 pillars, we say culture is, you know, one of the main objectives of this college. We're an open institution, and we want, you know, our elders to feel welcome coming to college. It isn't all our, you know, just young people And there's that balance, for wisdom too, that is much appreciated in our culture. We highly value our elders and that wisdom and those knowledge keepers. So to anybody listening, if you hear somebody that's up in age, they're very precious to us. And if you're listening, please, if you want to come to college and you want to take a class, that's what we're here for, to support you. So I'm speaking directly to anybody who thinks they may be too old to attend college. So we welcome that balance in our classrooms. We welcome that balance in life. We need that balance too. So come on down. We're willing to help you log on to that computer, turn that computer on, and whatever it is you think you might need, I'm here. Call me, come and, see any of us at the college. I just don't want you to feel like you're too old. And that was the comment. It kind of hurt my feelings. I said, no, you're not. You're welcome to come. There were some grandparents, have a lot of responsibilities and maybe they don't have the time, but maybe one class, come on in, and we'll certainly support you in that area as well. So might be for the companionship. And they may just want to learn how to operate a computer and get online and join that internet world out there. So again, thank you for listening, and we look forward to having all students come on in, and we welcome you all. Thank you.
Oh, let's do. I think, I want to say when I started my academic journey here at the college back in the day, I also took some language classes with Kushi Lillian, Pejuta Wea Echiapia. We went to Bob Forstar's class together, and later on we Nakona class, and then later on she took some Dakota language classes too. So she was late 70s at the time, and so it's never too late to learn. And I think we want to dispel some of these myths that education is only for young people or for certain people, because there's certain terms like degree seeking, or there's certain classifications, but I notice a lot of people, because we're a community college, we're here for the community. I want to reiterate that, not to you folks right here on Zoom, but young people, anybody out there, all of our community members are important to us, and we want them to be a part of our Buffalo Chaser Society, which includes men, women, children, because we have dual credit students. We welcome all of them. One of the things that I think we've always, and you guys know this better than anybody here on the Zoom call, is the family education model. We've tried to hold on to that where we can, and part of that is recruiting our own family members to assist us through our educational journey. And many of us live with family members in different age groups, so we want to encourage all of them to be part of our academic experience, because really they're an enhancement. We don't want to our students to be perceived as different just because they're pursuing higher education, or to be ostracized. We want them to feel welcome, and many times we would invite elders and family members to sit in the classroom with us. It's a little challenging virtually, but now, a lot of us have to take classes at home. So we definitely want to encourage everybody to take some classes, especially with it being free now. This is the part where I might go off on my free tuition and fees speech, unless there's anybody else that wants to add anything.
Just real quickly, Scott, just for the sake of gaining understanding, we need to help ourselves understand, like from a spiritual perspective, those people that help us that are on the other side, what do we call them? Grandpa and grandma. And this is coming from a spiritual place. Spiritual people kind of look at it like this. Our grandpas and our grandmas, we ask them to help us while we're walking on earth for whatever reason, be it a heartfelt cry, or what they refer to as prayer, or chikia. But guess how they look at us? There's no age thing there, because we're all Hokshila, eh? Or we Chinchala. And in that, that's why we prepare ourselves, because we're all young in this way of life, and we're trying to prepare ourselves. My dad used to say, life here is about this far. From here to infinity is where we're going to spend the next phase of our life. So if you put it in that respect, age really isn't a consideration. And when we say it's an enhancement, enrichment for the sake of our young people, it's not. It doesn't talk about age. It talks about the understanding of where you're at in respect to the natural law process, eh? And that introduces that opportunity for ideological paradigm shift, changing that pedagogy to address the importance of that. So we could be 70 years old and still be considered young. And if you're that age, you would consider yourself somewhat young, because the more we learn, the more we get to know, the more we realize we don't know, kind of like that. But you got to look at it like that from a spiritual perspective. Our grandfathers and grandmothers look at us as girls and boys. Okay? So you'll find many people, Tatanka Hope Sheila, have that name, Chinchala, at the end of their name, their Indian name, because that's what they're wishing for us to understand. Just thought I'd throw that out there just to kind of keep us going in that mindset of a spiritual, cultural perspective. Eh?
Oh, Pinamaya, Pidamaya.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, so like I was saying earlier, for those of you that are listening out in Facebook world, or you know of anybody, regardless of age, background, we are still registering. We will be open for registration through next Friday, which is January 22nd, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30 p.m. We are registering for the spring 21 semester. So again, free tuition and fees, including books. We do have laptops and internet plans available for students that are at least 6 credits in degree seeking. And also we have a meal plan for students that are at least 6 credits or more in degree seeking, no matter where you're at. If you live here in Wolf Point, Poplar, or if you live over in Minnesota, Makoche, or if you're down in Arizona, wherever you're at, we have the ability to reach you and to find you and send you money stipends and send you laptops. We will certainly help you out, make you an offer you just can't refuse, as they say, with all these goodies. We want you to be a part of our community and our college here. And so really this is unprecedented what we're trying to offer our students. And nearly all of our classes are being hybrid or online, remote. So I just want to throw that out there. If you have any questions, please contact us at Student Services or go to fpcc.edu and you can enroll now, begin the registration process. We have a lot of really cool staff members that'll help guide you through the whole process, no matter where you're at within the understanding of technology. If you type with that one finger, it's like this, we'll bring you into the fold. Or if you use all of these 10 week Gemna Napchionka, you can type with all 10. Hey, that's Wash Day 2. We'll register you up. And so please take advantage of this. If you have any other questions, let us know. But for now, Midakuyepi Doksta Ake. In our language, we do not say goodbye. We say Doksta Ake. Until next time.
Hey ha ya hey ha ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya hey ya ya hey ya hey yo hey yo hey yo hey ha ya 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 hey yo hey yo hey yo Fort Beck Community College Ukiepido yo me too gashi dagush kashka yogi no yo wata pevi ya bino. Hey yo, hey yo. Hey ha ya, hey ha ya, hey ya, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey ha ya, hey ya yo. Hey ha, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey ha ya, hey ha. Hey ha ya, hey ha ya. Hey ha ya, hey ha yo. Hey yo, hey yo. Fort Peck Community College, Ungi Epino, yo, yo, me too, gashi, dagush, kashka, yogi, piano, yo, yo, wata, baby, hagi, tabi, ihachi, ya, bino, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hey ha ya, hey ha ya, hey ya, hey ha yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey ha ya, hey ya yo. Hey ya, hey ha yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey ha ya, hey ha. Hey ha ya, hey ha ya. Hey ha ya, hey ya, hey ha, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Fort Peck Community College, Ungi Epino, yo, yo. Me too, gashi, dagush, kashka, yogi, piano, yo, yo. Wata, baby, hagi, tabi, ihachi, ya, bino. Hey yo, hey yo. Hey ha ya, hey ha ya, hey ya, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey ha ya, hey ya yo. Hey ya, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey ha ya, hey ha. Hey ha ya, hey ha ya. Hey ha ya, hey ha, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Fort Peck Community College, Ungi Epino, yo, yo. Me too, gashi, dagush, kashka, yogi, piano, yo, yo. Wata, baby, hagi, tabi, ihachi,